Alright guys, today's the day I'm going to try to get the Camaro repaired. Gonna start. So the problem is the hood latch has busted off here. So inside the car, let's see. So here's the hood latch. The problem is, as you can see, the cable has come all the way out, which means it has broken off at the hood latch point. Now, usually what happens is this handle breaks off, but you can get a pair of vice grips on it and just pull it out. However, that's not gonna work here. So what this means is I've got to get up under the car. Hello. Hi. So as you can see, the front of this car, you can't reach through the grill like you could a normal car because the engine literally starts like right here. So there's no reaching in. And the mechanism is like right in here, I do believe. So what I'm gonna have to do is jack it up. We've got to get underneath of it and come up through the bottom of the car. I tried this once before and I couldn't get anywhere near the latch. So the tools we're going to be using: jack stands for safety. I've got a 2.5 ton jack to get it up, and then some basic tools. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually pull the car. I'm going to back it in here. There's a speed hump here, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to put the back wheels there and block them for a little extra support. See if we can do this. Okay, so the street is at an angle here. I don't need it super high. So I've just got one stand here, and I've got the jack on the other side. I can't go too high because the car actually will shift. I'm worried about it shifting, so this might be enough. So this piece right here along the front, this is the air dam. So like here's the front of the car. The way this car cools itself, air hits this dam and it's forced up on here. The radiator fans are in back and it pulls air through. That's how it cools the car. There are the radiator fans. So I'm going to take the air dam off to see if I can get my hands up towards the top of the damn car. The only other way to do this is to possibly take these are the radiator fans, is to take these out. And you can get them from the bottom, but it's not easy. So to take the air dam off, There's just a couple bolts. Well, there's actually a whole series. These little bolts, I don't know, there's 10, 12 of them. Let's see what we can do. So there just isn't any way to get in there. Let me show you here. So I've got the air dam off. That was connected here. All right, there's no way up through there. That's just sealed off. Now, what I did, I saw a gap here, and I actually cut a little line here, which I hated doing, but it's just plastic. That would be the only way up. You see that little light up there, that space? My arm is nowhere near small enough to get in there. I just cannot even get my hand past. This piece here is part of the front of the car, and these actually are rivets. These aren't actual bolts. There's no, you can't grip them. They're rounded off, but it wouldn't even make any difference, I don't think, to get that off. Which means, so the hood latch on this car is roughly here. It's in this area right here. Here's the, where the hood opens. It's centered. It's like roughly here. The only thing I can think to do at this point, I'm gonna have to take a grinder and notch this fucking hood. Now, the paint on this car, you can see the clear coat's gone on it. This is what happens when your clear coat starts disappearing, like flakes. I would have to replace the hood, which isn't, I mean, that's expensive. These hoods are like $700-800 minimum. It's also, it would be unpainted, unfinished, obviously. I think that's my only option. Notch this out with a grinder, pop the hood out, or pop the release, and then maybe replace the hood. But that would be a project I'd have to save up for, or something to buy. In the meantime, shutting the hood back, what I'd have to be really careful of, if I cut where the top latch is, this thing would not lock back down. That would be the only problem. I would have to cut forward in front of where it's attached, because there's a thing that sticks down. It's like a latch, right, that grabs onto it and locks the hood into place. So if I cut forward of it, like somewhere in here, and I could get my hand, maybe jimmy it to get it open, and then when I close it, it would still latch back, and I would just have a hole here. That would be god-awful ugly, but I think that's my only option. guys. So it's about, I don't know, it's about an hour or so later. I'm cooled off. I was soaking wet. I still have to take a shower and everything. So unsuccessful, and I kind of figured it would be unsuccessful because I had tried that once before last year towards the end of the summer. And it was getting dark at the time I was under the car. So in my mind, I just had this hope, like maybe I missed something. I'm like, didn't see something. So I thought I would get back under there and try it one last time. But there's just no way to get your hand up there. And that one area that I showed you guys where there was that light you were seeing was actually the hood gap. Even if I got my hand up and could touch the hood, you still have to make a 90-degree turn and come over about 8 to 10 inches. 8 to 10 inches. Like, there's just no way. I've got bones and shit in my hand. There's just no way to do that. And even if somehow I could touch the retainer clip that holds that lock, that thing is really difficult to like, you've got to have some leverage on it. So even if I took that car to a shop, those guys would basically see the same thing I did. It would just be easier because they would lift it up on a lift and they'd be able to stand up and say, yeah, we can't get this. I checked so many Camaro forums trying to find answers to this. There's literally one answer on the internet that I ever saw. And it was a guy saying you can get to it, but you have to take the bottom of the car off. Now, I don't know what he means by that. The bottom of the car. If I could get the radiator fans down, I could get to the latch. 100% I know that I could, because there's literally like this much space. Well, actually more. The radiator fans are like this wide. I could just get up in there. The problem with that, so the way those radiator fans are designed for my car, they're not bolted in. They literally sit. So there's like these 4 clips, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And the radiator fans have like little hooks. And if you drop it in from the top, it just literally sits and the weight is on the hook. And it's really tight. It's a tight fit. And so it doesn't move at all. There's also a piece that goes over the top. So you have to unbolt this plastic piece to come off, and then you can access the radiator fans. So once they're clipped on there, you've got the piece that's bolted on. So there's just no way to do it with the hood closed. Anyway. So my only option at this point is to literally cut the hood. Now, I have already looked up some videos of people. Now, I've not found one specifically for this problem, but there's people like cutting just notches in their hood to make it look like air vents or something. So it can be done. I really don't want to do it, but I literally have no other choice. I've got to get the hood open. I've got to check the oil. Like, things have to happen. I've got to make repairs on that car. So I don't know if you guys could hear. If you listen to the engine of that car, especially when I'm first moving it, that left side of the car, the driver's side of the car, if you listen, you can hear like a pop, 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 pop. It's almost like a ticking sound. That's what a lifter back in the day. That's what a lifter would sound like if it needed adjustment or something. But what that is exhaust gas coming out of the exhaust manifold. So that just sounds annoying. The sound bothers me, but that's not that big of a deal. The real reason I need to get the hood open, aside from the obvious things like checking the oil and all of that shit, and adding oil for that matter, it has an exhaust gas. It's got a head gasket leak. I have confirmed this there's a couple ways you can test for an exhaust gas or a head gasket leak. So the head gasket, if you don't know much about engines, you have your engine block, and then you have cylinder heads that bolt onto the engine block. And there is a gasket, a heavy duty gasket that goes between those two. Now what that gasket does is it keeps the oil away from the engine coolant. The engine coolant circulates through the engine block. And if that head gasket blows out or gets damaged, or you get a warped head and it doesn't have a good seal, you'll have radiator fluid being pushed into the rest of the car, which you'll have exhaust gas. You'll have exhaust gas because it's under really high pressure. and it's forced into the coolant side of the block there. So what you'll see is you'll have little teeny tiny air bubbles. So what I did one day is I jacked the front of the car up a little bit. I took the radiator cap off. I had a long funnel you put on there because when the coolant gets hot, it actually expands. So it expands up into this big funnel. And if you watch it, once that thing gets to like running temperature, you'll see teeny tiny air bubbles coming up, or big air bubbles if it's a big leak. And in my case, it was teeny tiny pinprick air bubbles, which now that's a good thing. I mean, it's not a good thing to have a head gasket leak, but if you're going to have one, you want to see the tiny, teeny bubbles. That means there's just the smallest of holes or something is going on there. What I really hope, I hope it's the gasket that is blown out, got too hot, and not a warped cylinder head. Because if a warped cylinder head, oh my God, you got to pull the cylinder head off. I don't even know which side it is, right? There's no way to tell. I don't think there is. I don't know. You could actually, I think you could probably pull the spark plugs and see if one of them has coolant on it. That's one way you could probably tell which side of the engine block you need to work on there. If I get the hood open, because it's such a pinprick leak, a small leak, I have this sealant, and it's got really good ratings. This isn't like the sealants back in the 70s and 80s. The technology's come a long way. So it's actually, it's silicate. So what happens is you pour this into your system, you get the car up to operating temperature, and what happens is where that exhaust gas is being forced into the coolant system, that exhaust gas is super, super heated. And when that silicate comes in contact with where the hole is, it actually crystallizes it, not crystallizes it, but it basically turns it into glass. So it's the same principle as a lightning strike. If lightning strikes sand, you get essentially glass. That's what happens. And so for very, very small leaks, this stuff, they actually have a money-back guarantee if it doesn't work. But I cannot do this until I get the hood open. So the way that you can tell if you have this leak is your car is going to overheat. So if I drive that car any more than a couple of miles, the exhaust gas is pressurizing and superheating the coolant system. So the thing fucking will overheat. Now, I don't get anywhere near that. I take the car to the gym and back, to the grocery store and back. I rehooked up my radiator fans on manual, so I can, as soon as I start the engine, I can literally cut the fans on, because the way they worked before, they were automated. They would cut on at a certain engine temperature. I don't want that. I want them on the whole time. I just got some fucking weird, really weird lag right there. But it is not good to overheat your car. So this is how this happened. About a year and a half ago or so, my car was overheating, and I didn't notice it at first. What had happened was my water pump went bad. It fried. So if your water pump is bad, it doesn't circulate the coolant through the car, and the coolant doesn't have a chance to cool because it goes through the radiator and through all these little tubes, and you've got your fans on, and you've got the wind from the front of the car, and it cools it off enough, and it just keeps circulating. If there's no circulation, the coolant essentially sits. So the coolant in the engine block literally boils. And if it gets too hot, what I think happened is it either warped the cylinder head, which I really hope that's not the case, or it literally melted or something, or damaged the gasket. So that's why all of this is a problem for me. So I'm just giving you a backstory here. And there was if you guys go back a year and a half or so, there's like several weeks or a month where I'm trying to figure out why my car is overheating. I could not figure out. I replaced the radiator fans. I replaced fuses, sensors, everything you could think of. And then finally thought to check. Like I replaced a thermostat. That's an aftermarket water pump on it. So it's electric. It's not a cam-driven water pump. It's an electric water pump. And it had fried. And I didn't know that. And I was out in it
Didn't realize it was overheating. I just happened to look at the gauge and it was almost in the red. And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like I panicked. So what I did is I pushed it and I tried to get home. Never, ever, ever do that. Take it from me. If your car, if you notice that gauge come on, you probably have a light. In new cars, it's like a light. If you see your overheating light come on, pull your fucking car over immediately. If you're unable to do it, you need to turn on your heater on high. Turn the heater on high. Do the vents. Don't use the defroster because that kicks on the compressor. Put it on just the vents at the top there, because I think the floor vents actually use the compressor as well. Put it on the dash vents. Put that heat on and turn the fan all the way up on high. Pull over as soon as you can and shut the fucking car off. But what that'll do, it seems counterintuitive, but what that does is it uses the heating core to cool it, because the coolant flows also through your heating core. That's how your heater works, by the way. If you didn't know, it's just like a mini radiator. So if you have that heater on high, it will bring the temperature down a little bit. Not a lot, but it might save you from a massive fucking engine repair like I'm having to deal with. Anyway, that's it. I was pretty happy with the video quality. I watched a little bit back. So I'm just adding this to the end of the video. So my next step is I'm going to buy a grinder. I'm going to check. I'm not going to go to the auto parts store because they're fucking stupidly overpriced. But there is a, it's like a True Value or an Ace or something. And there's also a, what you call it? The big tool place. I can't remember what it's called. I might go up there as well, just to check prices. Maybe I can check online. If not, I'll use Amazon. I'll get a heavy duty grinder, and then that'll be the next thing that I do. Now I don't want to do that. So I want to show you guys a picture right now. Let me open this. Let me go to my display capture here. So this is the front. So this is basically my car. Well, it's the same year. This is a 30th anniversary, 1997 SS convertible. Now this is a convertible. I don't know if this has the SLP Performance Package. The engine looks basically the same as mine. Here is the hood latch right there. This spot right here is where you guys saw that little bit of light when I had the camera. And so the hood would be right here. This covers the radiator. So this is the radiator. The radiator fans are right behind it. So you have to take this off, and then the radiator fans lift off from the back. Obviously, there's no way to do that with the hood closed or getting this off. So this is where I would have potentially reached up into. But then you can see I have to make a 90-degree turn and get over here. And then underneath of this latch, I have to pull this fucking thing down. So there's just no way. There's just no way to do it. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm actually might put an ad on Facebook or Craigslist, a local ad. There are a couple other Camaros, 4th generation Camaros like mine. What I need to do is measure with the hood open. If I can like meet up with one of these guys or gals who has a Camaro just for a minute, I'll take my tape measure. What I'll do is I'll measure from this wall right here, the front of the car, right back to here. And I'll leave, I don't know, maybe like a ½ inch or an inch. Actually, I need to look at the top of the hood. I don't need to look at this. I need to look at the top. The top has the clip, the latch, that latches down into this. And then I need to cut like an inch or a ½ inch back from it, because if I cut the latch part off, then the hood's just going to come open and it won't stay shut when I'm driving, right? So, but that's going to be my plan. So this is going to be a long process, a very long process. As you can see, it's this is the air dam up here. So in order, like once I get the fucking hood open, if I can get it open, I've got to take all this shit off to get to the cylinder, the head over here, the exhaust manifold. The exhaust manifold is the last thing I'm worried about, like that pop, pop, pop sound. I need to pull a bunch of shit off to get, actually, I don't need to do that. I'm thinking internally. No, I add that sealant. Actually, you add it straight to the radiator. But I will need to pull this off to get to the exhaust in. Anyway, I'm kind of thinking out loud and working out loud here. But so that's what needs to happen. I hope I can get it done. This is going to be a long process. It really is, because this shit's expensive. I don't know how much a grinder is, but I'm kind of on a fixed income. I don't have a lot of extra fucking money. You can rent tools from the like AutoZone or whatever, but it's stupidly priced. So I was going to rent. There's also something where you can it's a test kit, and you test the coolant, or you have something you force something into the radiator cap here. You take the radiator cap off. It's like a turkey baster kind of. And as the car heats up, the coolant comes up into this thing, and you squeeze it, and if it turns blue or something, it's telling you that's exhaust gas. They wanted like $300 for me to rent that thing for a day. And it's like, are you fucking out of your mind? Like, you can buy it for like $60. Fucking stupid. Anyway, I guess that's it for me. This is for everybody on the channel. I've got a couple of things going on for the members, because it's just a way to say thank you. They are choosing to support me for like $1, $2, $5 a month. I forget what the levels are. I love you guys so much for doing that. Thank you so much. It's helped me out. It helped me get to the doctor, get my blood pressure medicine. I mean, I can't quit my job or anything like that, but I just want you guys to know that I love you and I appreciate you. But this series is for kind of everybody on the channel, whether you're a subscriber or not, whether you're a member or not. And so there'll be more to come. They will be kind of staggered out. So here is the camera. This is the little 4K camera, and it came a really nice box. This is like a waterproof. It's waterproof to like 50 feet or something. I don't know. All kinds of little adapters and shit. It's fine outside. It looks okay to me. And the microphone, the built-in microphone, isn't that bad. This camera sucks ass if it's not in natural light. Like the videos at the gym, I also put like a teaser out on the channel. It looks like it's 144p. I don't know if it's the fluorescent light or what's going on, but this is the Akaso V50X. Do not buy this camera, okay? What you want is the V50, the camera before this one. I've seen a lot of videos of side-by-side comparisons. The quality on the V50 is just way better than this. So it's like a different chipset or something. I don't know. I cannot recommend it. Even if they were paying me, I couldn't do it. But I'm not getting paid. Anyway, I'm sending this camera back. I'm waiting on a shipping label. It actually might be here today. I got to box it up. I'm going to send it back. And with the credit I get from Amazon, I'm going to get the V50. Now, what's interesting is the older camera is more expensive. So I'm going to have to spend like an extra, like I'll use my credit and then I need $25 of my own money to get it. That tells you something about the older camera, though, that the company obviously knows. But hopefully the gym videos and stuff will get better with the new camera. But anyway, this is probably a long video. That's it for me. Stay tuned for more of my ongoing issues. And when and if I finally get this hood open by cutting it, the next step is after I get this shit repaired, if I even can, I got to replace the hood. I mean, I guess I might be able to get a local guy to weld the little square that I'm going to cut off, but that's going to look like crap. But that might be what I have to do, because the hoods for these fucking cars are anywhere between like $700, $800 to $1,200. So I might have to get like a fiberglass hood or something cheap. I don't know. We'll see. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. I'll see you in a future episode of something. Peace.